Alright mate, how you doing? Welcome back to another episode of IMO. I've just uploaded a brand new IMO about the West Ham situation and all the stuff that's been kicking off with the fans and the club. But I thought, you know what, I'll give you two for the price of one. I'm also going to talk about this Jamie Carragher situation, someone that I've met and come to know a little bit. He's played at the Wembley Cup before. He's got involved in a little bit of controversy involving actually spitting on a fan. This could have huge repercussions for his career. Let's talk about it. Okay, so if you don't know the situation, basically Jamie Carragher is obviously an ex-Liverpool legend and also a pundit on Sky Sports right now. He was on the way back from the Man United-Liverpool game. Man United beat Liverpool. He would have been obviously pretty annoyed about that. It's a big rival match. And he was getting lots of abuse from different fans, obviously Man United fans winding him up or whatever. And whilst driving in his car on the motorway, another car pulled up next to him, gave him some abuse, was winding him up about it, and they also caught all of this interaction on camera, filmed Jamie Carragher, who rolled down his window and then proceeded to spit on the guy filming, okay? Incidentally, that guy was obviously filming whilst driving, which is illegal, and he also, whether Jamie Carragher knew this at the time or not, we're not sure, had a 14-year-old girl in the passenger seat who I think actually got spat on the most, right? It's unacceptable behaviour from everyone involved. The guy should never have been driving and filming at the same time on a motorway. Also, just probably shouldn't be abusing people driving next to him, but by no means am I defending Jamie Carragher's behaviour. What he did is terrible, it's abhorrent. You do not spit on people in any walks of life. He's actually previously laid into footballers who have spat on people before. Happened with a West Ham player, Masuaku. He absolutely laid into him. Fairly. Look, you should lay into people when they spit, but you can't be a hypocrite. That rhymes. So, as a result of that interchange between Carragher and the Man United fan getting filmed and going online, he's been suspended by Sky Sports. Since then, he's apologised a lot on live TV. He's come out on social media and apologised to the guy and to his family and to his own family as well, who's obviously embarrassed quite a lot. We don't know if he's going to get his job back. People like Gary Neville and whatnot have come out, who are obviously a co-host of his and also Man United ex-player, and sort of said, look, what he did was wrong. He's apologised. That should be the end of it. He should get his job back. Let's not forget, Sky Sports were the same organisation who let go of Richard Keys and Andy Gray years ago with this whole sexism row when they were accused of doing a bit of sexist behaviour towards Sian Massey, who was the first female linesman in the Premier League. So Sky Sports did not waste any time in getting rid of those guys off the back of that. Now they've got to make a similar decision about Carragher. Do they sack him? Do they let him come back? My first thoughts on this situation are this. Jamie Carragher has come out and apologised, first and foremost. That's important. And it should be taken seriously. You know, it takes a lot to apologise publicly and take it on the chin like he has. However, what he did, there's a lot of people that just would never have done that. The question for me is Jamie Carragher truly sorry about it? Or is he sorry because he got caught on camera? Because if there was no camera involved and he spat on the guy, would he have got in contact with him the day after and thought, you know what I did was really bad, sorry for spitting on you, sorry to your daughter, etc. Or is it because he got embarrassed? And is it because he's potentially going to lose his livelihood? This is the key situation. This is the key thing we have to analyse. Does he actually mean it? Is he the kind of guy that would do things like that if he knew no one was watching? Or did he just make a real human mistake, as everyone's capable of? I mean, I don't think, personally, I would ever spit on someone, right? However, I'm sure there's things I've done in the past, and there's things that I could do under pressure in the future that I would regret. And wish I'd never done. And when those things are caught on camera, it does create a real problem, particularly when you're in the public eye. So for Carragher to paint a picture of his day so far at that point, you know, his team had just lost, he'd been getting loads of stick probably on social media, he probably encountered loads of people already before that guy came about, maybe in the car, maybe out the car, abusing him, mugging him off. Sometimes us humans, we reach a limit and we have to do something. And when you're in a car, and another guy's in the car next to you, there's only so much you can do, short of ramming him off the road, which is obviously even worse. For me personally, I never would have rammed my window down. If someone was abusing me from the window next to me, I would have just ignored it, carried on driving. If he starts engaging in dangerous behaviour, I would have called the police. The idea of winding my window down and spitting in his car honestly never would have entered my mind. And I think that's the case for most people. So something to be said about that, like his decision to do that is not good. But for me, what Sky Sports have to decide is whether it was a one-off and he's going to learn from it and never do anything like that again, or whether he's the kind of guy that could do something like that again. If they feel it's the latter, they probably have to get rid of him. But I do like Jamie Carragher as a pundit. I'm sure I'm not alone in liking the sort of Neville Carragher interactions and would like to see them continue, but only the people that know him the best will know if this is an isolated incident or whether he's the kind of guy that would do this again, just not on camera. End of the day, he's getting paid a lot of money to be a spokesperson for that brand. They have to be 100% sure he's never going to do anything like this again if they give him his job back. Obviously, we've had a little bit of controversy on YouTube with Jamie Carragher before, with Joe Weller when he played in the Wembley Cup. I know Joe was really not happy with him. I think he made some videos about it afterwards. That for me was slightly different. Yeah, that was more on-pitch antics. Carragher is a competitive guy. I've interacted with him a fair bit. Actually, we did a Sky Sports Day recently where I was on Henri's team, Carragher was on the other team. We had a lot of banter going back and forth, me and Jamie, that day. And I actually enjoyed it. I'm not going to lie. I'm quite a competitive guy. Carragher, I think, is probably even more competitive than me. And he was trying to put me off, and I was trying to put him off. And I think that's all fun, and that is just banter in the sporting world. At no point during that whole thing did I ever get an inkling that he would, take it too seriously and I know it's only a fun day out and it wasn't like Man U Liverpool game, but I'm just trying to paint a picture from my perspective. At no point did I ever get an impression from him that he was going to get really annoyed and do something silly. It was all fun and games. So my interactions with Carragher would suggest that he's a competitive guy, but he had a bad day. I think he was having a bad day, he did something he shouldn't have done, and now he's getting a lot of stick for it. I think of all these things, you have a 2-strike rule in my opinion. They make a mistake and it's not something that is just unacceptable and really, really, really bad. Because if someone does something terrible, you have to get rid of them instantly. But this is kind of on a grey area for me. I do think it's disgusting behaviour, but if he's had a good record in the past, he's behaved himself on and off camera, you have to give him a second chance and say, look, you can't do anything like this again. You do anything close to this again, you're gone. But equally, we're only human. I've had situations I've talked about it many times on the channel before and on interviews and stuff, when some of West Ham fans were coming and giving me some abuse because for some reason they didn't like that a YouTuber was doing stuff with the club. And it was completely unfair and unwarranted. And there was a lot of instances that I wish had been caught on camera personally, because I know I handled myself in a good way in that situation. I was confronted, I was intimidated, I had my girlfriend with me. I was well within my rights to kick off big time, okay? But not because I thought someone might be filming me, but in all honesty, because I'm not that kind of guy. I didn't do anything that I think would embarrass myself. I didn't do anything that I thought was something that I wouldn't be happy for people to see me doing. But in all honesty, I have had other instances. I remember a time when I was coming out of West Ham once, and this kid came up to me, and he revealed to me that he was one of these football Twitter guys. I had a bit of beef with some of these guys in the past, and one of them had a go at me for something I said on True Geordie's podcast, where, long story short, there was this kid getting abused by football Twitter guys. We retweeted something he posted, and all these guys started picking on him. We felt really sorry for him. We contacted his mum. It turned out this lad had autism, and she was feeling really sorry for him, and we wanted to do something. So we invited him down to a game, and we gave him a good day out, right? I said that story on the True Geordie podcast, and I got loads of abuse saying that was a lie. It wasn't true. I didn't do that because I didn't document it. We didn't film it and, make a big song and dance out about it. We're just trying to do something nice for a lad. So that offended me, quite honestly, because I was being called a liar, when in reality I felt I'd actually done something reasonably nice. So when this kid came up to me and said those same things to me in person, because one of the things I'd always wanted, one of these football Twitter guys to come up to me in person, so I could have it out with them a little bit, really. And I think, I don't know, maybe I was in a bad mood that day, maybe I'd had a bad day. I came out the stadium, this kid came up to me, he must be about 14 or 15 years old, and he started calling me a liar, saying I'd lied about the thing, that we didn't invite the lad down, that he didn't have autism, and all this stupid stuff, and it really annoyed me, and I thought, you know what, this is my chance to have it out with one of these guys live. And yes, they're a young lad, and I'm a bit older, and I was probably a little bit intimidating, maybe a little bit over angry. Didn't do anything physical, but I had a go at him. I had a proper go at him and told him exactly what I thought of him. And I'm not ashamed of it, because I think those kids need to be told. If you're old enough to tell people to kill themselves and get cancer on Twitter, then in my eyes, you're old enough for me to have a go at you, right, and scare you a little bit. And that's basically what I did to this kid. And then he ran off, and then he filmed himself saying something like, because he tweeted this at me later, saying something like, I've just had a face-off with Spencer FC, I'm only a kid, he's a middle-aged man, I think was his words, and which made me laugh, and he's been really rude to me and offensive. And I just thought, you know what, this kid is the worst of the worst, because he's the guy that's going online, trolling people, attacking people. Someone has a go at him in real life, completely fairly, by the way. That stuff I said to him, that kid needed to hear, right? Because he's not carrying himself in a good way in his life right now. Someone's got to wake him up. If his parents aren't going to do it, I'll do it. And then he went and made a little video. It was like the equivalent of one of these footballers that fouls people, and the minute they get kicked, goes down and starts crying, or even worse, dives. They didn't even get kicked. Sergio Ramos, Pepe, you've seen them. I hate it. If you're going to be a guy on the pitch who's, a Roy Keane or a Gattuso-like enforcer, then expect to take a little bit as well. You can't do both. You can't be a little fouler, a little niggly player, then the minute someone goes near you, dive like an absolute pansy. That's what this kid was doing. He was abusing people online, so I had to go at him. And I told him some home truths, and then he went and did a little video going, Spencer's had a go at me, I feel really threatened. And I was like, you know what? Anyway, what I'm trying to say is no one caught my interaction with that kid on camera. If they had, probably would have been a little bit embarrassing for me. It could have been painted that I was picking on this kid without the context of the story that I've just tried to give to you. It could have made me look like a bad guy. I learned a little bit from that. I learned not to be so emotive and reactionary when people do say things to me in person. However, would I have ever spat on the kid? No. Never. So it's something to think about. I just wanted to throw some context in there for my own personal experiences. Also my small interactions with Jamie Carragher as well. I hope he does get his job back on Sky Sports. I hope he never does anything like this again. I think it's unacceptable. And I know the guy who actually he did spit on has asked for Sky Sports not to sack him as well. I also want that guy to get some punishment, by the way, because you should not be filming on your phone. You shouldn't be using your phone when you're driving. So, in my opinion, Carragher should get some sort of punishment, suspension, learn from it, and this guy should get some sort of punishment. You know, some points on his license and a fine. You do not drive and use your phone. But hopefully it ends like that and we don't see anything like this again. We see less and less of these sort of instances in football. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Should Carragher get his job back? What should happen to the guy that was driving and filming? And what do you think Jamie Carragher should have done in that situation? Drop a like on this video if you've enjoyed it. Subscribe for more. Until next time, don't go change it.